on works contract services.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, works contract under service tax is what I'm going to present. Good afternoon to students, to Hiregange sir, to faculties and everybody. Works contract. What is a works contract? Works contract involves transfer of property as well as rendition of service. That was as quoted under the decision of State of Andhra Pradesh versus L&T 2008. It is one of the much disputed transactions since the 46th Amendment under the Constitution in 1982. The persisting ambiguities under different statutes can be seen that of the definition which I have mentioned, the year can be seen 2008. So sales tax is applicable since many years and still there are few differences which can be seen. Now originally works contract was a commercial term. It was first coined in the case of State of Madras versus Gannon and Dunkley, whereby then which was necessitated by the 46th Amendment that included Article 366(29)(a), which relates to deemed sale of goods. Now, under works contract, the essentialities, there are many essentialities. One of the essentialities which can be considered is the principle of chattel as a chattel. Now, what is that? Chattel as a chattel? Before a few months, even I was confused while reading this. Then chattel as a chattel simply means that if somebody is given a works contract for customization of a car, then the transaction should be and the contract should be of the nature of sale of customized car and not sale of battery, sale of mirror, sale of metal and so on. Now what is Article 366(29)(a) which imposes deemed sale of goods? I will read out. 29A, tax on sale or purchase of goods includes a tax on transfer of property in goods, whether as goods or in some other form, involved in the execution of a works contract, and such transfer, delivery or supply of any goods shall be deemed to be a sale of those goods by the person making the transfer, delivery, supply, and a purchase of those goods by the person whom such transfer, delivery or supply is made. Now, what is the nativity of works contract service under service tax? Friends, you can see 4 services which I have mentioned in the table with the year of introduction under the ambit of service tax. Consulting engineering services, when introduced in 1997, it was a very major move by the finance minister then. Then slowly from 2003, we see numerous amendments, numerous additions to the gamut of types of services which can be considered under works contract services. Firstly, erection, commissioning and installation services in 2003. In the subsequent year, commercial or industrial construction services. In the subsequent year, residential construction. However, this did not serve the clear intent on the judiciary dais due to some underlying fundamental inconsistency, which for instance we can see. What is vivisection of a contract so as to tax part or full transaction? Now, simply vivisection of a contract means dissection of a contract or breaking of a contract in so as to tax part or full transactions. This this vivisection of contract so as to tax part or full cannot be done was decided in the case of Dialem Industrial versus CC in 2006, later on Sepco Electric Power, which was relied upon State of Punjab versus Associated Hotels of India, and then under CCE versus BSBK Private Limited, which was referred to larger bench, which sought that vivisection of a contract so as to tax part or full transaction be done only when there is a legal fiction. What do I mean by legal fiction? By legal fiction, I mean there is a, for example, we can take deemed sale of goods. Vivisection of a contract can be done when service portion has to be vivisected from the goods portion. When service portion is to be vivisected under service portion, vivisection is not possible as per the stated decision. In the case of Dialem Industrial versus CCE, the thing was that a turnkey project was given to the Dialem Industrial. Then the department was of a view that turnkey projects includes consultancy services as well, that the designing of the basic structure takes place. So, for example, if the transaction value was 10 crores, then 2 crores was for the designing, then please vivisect the amount of 2 crores, pay the respective prevalent rate at that time, and pay the duty to the government. Hence, this was declared as which cannot be accessed by the respective bench. Then another, what we can say that problems which were seen that erstwhile machineries under Gujarat VAT were not enough capable for valuation of works contract. The same will be seen further. Hence, in 2007, via a notification, Works Contract Services saw insertion in Finance Act. It saw its definition under section 65, subsection 105, under clause ZZZZA. Now, why do they make it so difficult? Can't they keep it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? It was so well defined as it included all the services which were mentioned in this sheet. Now, one extra service which they included was EPC projects. Now, what are EPC projects? EPC projects are engineering procurement construction projects. By introducing Works Contract Services in 2007, the turnkey projects were also included. Now, what necessitated a different whole new service called Works Contract Services to be defined in 2007? That was led by Dalim Industrial versus CCE. The decision which came that a works contract cannot be vivisected for to tax part of the transaction, and this led to a whole new service called Works Contract Services as a definition. And what is current scenario? In India, we see that hardly the law has settled and we see various and perennial changes. Finance Act introduced Service Tax in 1994, then inclusion of various services. Hardly the law was inclusion of Works Contract Services in 2007. Hardly the law was settled, and then we see a whole new approach that was negative list based approach. Here, the definition of works contract was changed and was removed. The restrictive nature of the definition under section 65(105) ZZZZA was removed as per the new service, as per the new definition which was given in section 66B, subsection 44. What are the radical and distinct changes under negative list of approach? Section 66E, subsection H, which relates to the declared services, declared service portion in execution of a works contract. Kindly note, it starts with service portion in execution of a works contract and not a works contract as a whole. Now, the definition of works contract given in section 66B, subsection 54 was a contract wherein transfer of property and goods is involved. In the execution of such contract is leviable to tax as sale of goods, and as such contract is for the purpose of carrying out construction, erection, commissioning, installation, completion, fitting out, repair, maintenance, renovation, alteration of any movable or immovable property, or for carrying out any other similar activity or a part thereof in relation to such property. Now, we can see that it relates to movable as well as immovable property. Movable property was introduced under the negative list approach. Earlier, the definition under section 65(105) ZZZZA said that works contract can only be done in case of immovable property. Now, the movable property are also considered. Therefore, if I give someone...
Excuse me, Jugal. Can you please maintain the hall decorum? There is someone speaking. Yes, Jugal, you can continue.
Thank you. Now, to understand works contract services better, we need to see what is not included in works contracting services and what are the significant changes. So, the comparison can be seen between pre-negative list approach and post-negative list approach. As I said, the definition was limited to immovable property previous the introduction of negative list approach. Now, Notification 3 of 2011 saw amendment in the definition of input services as defined under Senvet Credit Rules 2004. And by that notification, the works contract services were specifically excluded from the definition of input services, whereby we provided that they are the works contractor or a constructor can only take the input credit of the same. I would like to quote an example for the same. If I am a manufacturer producing cars, and if I have set up a new machinery, and for that if I have awarded someone a works contract for setting up the base of the new machinery which I am requiring, pre-negative list approach, you can take the credit of the service tax paid to the works contractor. Post-negative list approach, as I am a manufacturer, I am not in the business of works contracting or construction, I cannot take the credit of the same. Then, number 3, concept of adding fair value of goods did not exist previously. Now, what is fair value of goods? We have seen, as under a reference was made today, that under section 48 of income tax, if there is an excess payment made to a relative, so why we need to tax that? So basically the approach is that the fair value of the goods should be taken into consideration. Same under service tax, by wide notification number 24/2012, the same was introduced, and fair value of goods shall be taken into consideration for total amount charged. Now what is total amount charged? We'll see in the next few slides. As talked by previous fellows, we can also see that there was no RCM on works contract services prior to 1/7/2012. Notification 30 came into force on 20th June 2012 with effect from 1st of July, which entailed RCM on works contract services subject to few conditions. Now, I would like to compare service tax and VAT in respect of works contract. Service tax, as we see the definition, this definition is as per section 66B subsection 54. Now, value added tax, I don't see, rather when I was firstly reading the definition for service tax under VAT, I was quite amused that the definition is not as per normal we see the definition. It is works contract means a contract for execution of work and includes such works contract as state government may specify. So there is no stable definition for the same. State government may specify at any point of time, may include, may exclude by notification or so. Then second, printing of photographs is not a works contract under service tax. Well, the same is under works contract under value added tax. However, photography services are is a declared service under service tax. Printing of photographs is not a works contract and therefore is not chargeable to service tax. Dyeing and printing of textile is on the same analogy and it is not under works contract for service tax.
You last 1 minute left.
Sorry?
Last 1 minute left.
Last 1 minute.
1 minute.
Okay. Then we see the fourth difference. Erection, installation of lifts, elevators may be treated as works contract depending upon the facts of agreements. For this, we can refer to the case law of Con elevators. Then it is not a works contract, it has been deleted in 2008 by a notification under VAT. Now, tire retreading is also a very disputed service which is covered under repairs and maintenance. Now, site formation and clearance, excavation and earth moving and demolition are works contract for VAT. For service tax, it is a whole new service as declared. Important note, Article 366(29)A provides for deemed sale of goods and not for deemed provision of services. Now, valuation rules. There are two valuation rules. There are two methods by which you can value a works contract as defined under Rule 2A, amended by notification 24/2012. Where we can see here the word is given where the value of goods is determined. It is a debatable issue that the words determined has been used. Does that mean that it is a discretionary for the person, for the assessee to select valuation model? Now, standard credit rules under 2A for works contract says you cannot take credits for input while you can take credits for input services or capital goods. However, one should bear in mind that the amended definition of input services shall be seen. Reverse charge mechanism, as quoted by my fellow, it was 50% for each of service provider and service receiver. Here are a few examples by which we can understand. It says that an incorporated association gives service to a corporated association, then works contract under RCM should be followed. Now, exemption notification number 25/2012, often referred as mega notification, exempts few types of works contract under serial number 12, 13, 14, 25 and 29. 29 should receive special consideration as it says services of a subcontractor is also exempt if services of a main contractor are exempt. However, one shall see that section 66F subsection 1 says unless otherwise specified, reference to a service shall not include reference to a service which is used for providing main service. In simple words, reference to the main service shall not include reference to a subcontracting service which is used for providing main service. Conclusion, works contract services are generating avenues for government, earlier under sales tax laws, then under VAT, now under service tax. However, the jurisprudence of the said subject is parading towards the situation of a well-settled statute, and sooner we'll see the anomalies ejected out of the service tax law. Thank you.
Thank you, Jugal. Thank you all the four paper present.